that's what led me to the Benin and the Yoruba, trying to read about so much of their visual attributes and
Yeah.
incorporating that into the crown.
Yeah.
So that was what I used for as like the stepping stone to like, okay, let me work something out.
Welcome, 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 welcome. This is Talks with Thandie, the podcast. I am Thandie, and today we're going to be having a really interesting conversation. And it's going to be, of course, it's art related, but this time is art. If you know what I'm talking about. And we have a special somebody in the studio today, our second guest on this podcast. I'm super excited. And see, when I introduce you, you would also introduce yourself.
All right.
Sure you get.
Cool.
So here we have in the studio Fatola Israel. So Fatola is a visual artist, a creative director. He's a musician. Is also a sculptor. He does a lot of things basically, and he's a really, really, really. Let me just say that artist again. He's a really brilliant artist, and he also tells stories with his work. So yeah, that is what I can say about you. Now you introduce yourself. Add Ajasa to everything that I've said.
My name is Fatola, and I consider myself a communicator. So, and I believe that there are different ways to communicate, really. And I'm just fortunate to be an artist. So that's like my medium of communicating with the world.
You see that thing you're saying is what people that have multiple talents.
Yeah, so that's about it, So I communicate through sound, through visuals, through textures, materials, a lot of things. And over the years, I've tried to perfect that skill and, create more impact, have more contributions to the overall collective of human interaction and how we see ourselves, how we talk about ourselves, how we remember the past and engage in the present. And also how we kind of like position ourselves for what is to come in the future. So communication is like a very crucial part of everything
that human, you do, yeah.
So we're social beings and nobody is a standalone,
I mean, you can't even thrive that way.
Exactly. So, and I think that already emphasizes the importance of why we need to always communicate well.
And why you communicate through your work.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. I forgot to add in my intro that he's an award-winning artist. So that's one thing that he said about himself. He's widely recognized for his work. So
Thank you.
I'm really excited that you
Thank you.
accepted to come for this. For this conversation. And usually what I try to start with is what you're currently reading and what you are watching.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that. So there's a book I'm reading presently. I think I'm halfway through. I read about 10 pages of it this morning.
Okay.
Also, there was a country by Chinua Achebe.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah. So I've been reading. I think I read one before. In fact, funny enough, this book is going to be like the beginning of how I'm going to start digging deep into classics and more African literature like that. Because prior to it, I was reading a lot of Western books. I read something about Steve Jobs, Walter Isaacson, Steve Jobs. So immediately after that, I was like, okay, let me come back home. Let me come back to understanding our history. And I felt like Chinua Achebe is like a good way to start. Yeah, so I've been reading that.
Why didn't you start with Things Fall Apart?
I think that's going to be the next on my list. So I have to devour like 3-4 books from him before I switch to the next on my list would be Chimamanda.
I mean, she's contemporary, but she's probably third gen writer. But
so I'm going to like just keep shuffling like both, contemporary, classic, and then going back, coming. So yeah, and the book is really, I learned a lot about. I'm still learning actually.
You said you're halfway through. You know,
Yeah.
you just finished.
Okay. Cool.
What are
Cool.
you watching?
Cool. Now for watching, I love more of documentaries,
Okay.
and I do more documentaries. A lot. I love documentaries a
Is he one of
lot.
the serial killer?
So, nah, not that. So the documentaries are. So I usually during my spare time, I try to. So the way I think about it, I'm like, okay, do I just want to watch something entertaining,
Okay.
just to entertain myself, or when I'm more in line with like, okay, let me work, let me research, let me study. So I watch something that is like a real life,
Okay.
based on a real life
Well,
occurrence.
documentaries are usually based on real
Yeah.
life stuff.
So yeah, they are all
You mean
actually.
about
It's
people?
just that some are more entertaining, some are more. So there's one I saw on National Geography. It's
Okay.
very It's about these boys. They were stuck in a cave for like days,
Where?
and somewhere in Thailand. Is either yeah, I think it's Thailand.
Oh, I've not heard of
Yeah,
that.
it's called. It's probably rescue.
Rescue, have you?
Rescue. Yeah,
Let me. I'll look for it
rescue.
and
And then
look
they had
into
to
it.
look for like divers to like go
Bring them on.
bring them out. Like it was really beautiful to watch. And then the
Did they find
production
them?
itself, yeah, they did.
Okay.
They did. They had to sedate them and then took them underwater because the boys were stuck in the cave, and eventually there was flood, you know. And I think it went on for like 13 days or thereabout. And then they ended up, there was no way they could get to them, so they had to go through
Go on the
water and
water.
all that, and then to get them and then bring them back through the same water to bring them out.
About.
So it was entertaining. So things like that I just watch just to
It's
keep
entertaining
myself.
because they were still alive.
Well, yeah.
So yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
I don't know if I should answer mine or I should just ask you the next thing that I ask.
No, I'll let you to
Okay, let me
give
answer
a
mine.
response on what you're
So
watching.
I'm reading. It's I think a Zimbabwean collection of
Oh.
folklores, right?
Oh.
The girl who married the lion, or the girl that got married to a lion. It's I need to check the author. His three names.
Oh wow.
So I'd never really clocked the name. Let me quickly.
Zimbabwe.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
collect.
brilliant.
The girl who married a lion. Yes, Alexander McCall Smith.
Oh.
Right.
Oh.
So he went there. I think he's also Zimbabwean, but a white Zimbabwean. So he all those, or majorly what we do is oral traditions. So
Yeah.
he just listened to a bunch of old people, some even kids,
Yeah.
collated stories. I think there are two. There's a sequel to this, but I'm kind of like halfway
Okay.
through this. You know how we have our stories of Ijakpa and the Kenya hen. That is basically
Yeah.
what
Oh
I'm reading. So I think
wow.
there are about 15 stories in it, short stories. 15 of them. When I'm
Brilliant.
done, I'll read the next one. So that's what I'm currently reading.
Oh
It's really really
nice.
nice. It's when
Brilliant. Brilliant. I can imagine.
when you read it, you start laughing like, okay, these are the stories they're telling kids. Oh wow.
Do we have our own Ijapa like that?
Okay, we have our own stories, really, our own folklores.
Like
You
in
know, when they
books?
tell you, oh, the girl that she went to the stream and she removed her head to braid her hair, and people started looking at where did you,
Oh
how,
man.
who made your hair for you? But she could
Oh.
not tell them that she was removing her head and things like that. I think
Okay.
we have a bunch of stories. Oh, how did the tortoise have the cracked
Yeah, we have a
shell?
lot
Yeah,
of
we
them.
have
I'm just
those kind of
thinking of like
stories.
the modern adaptation of it. Like, do we have them in movies or documentaries or books?
I don't think we do. I think we used to do. I know there were comics then. There were comics of those kinds of stories, but in terms of those stories collated into maybe like a book or something, I don't know if we have that. I think now that you've mentioned it, I'll need to really look into it and see.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't. I've not seen. But comics. As for comics, I know the comics used to exist when I was young. I used to read all those things. But now I don't really see them like that.
It's,
I
I
wonder what
mean,
kids are really reading.
I
But,
don't know. I don't
but
know.
yeah. As for
Times
what
have changed.
I'm watching, what am I
Yeah.
watching? What am I watching? I think I'm watching something right now. But what I watched last was The Big Fake on. No, I watched Rental Family and The Big Fake. You've heard of Rental Family now?
No, I rarely watch.
You know, let me just talk about The Big Fake.
Is
It's
it a
on
series?
Netflix. No, it's the one movie.
Okay, because I avoid series.
Fair enough. It takes
Yeah,
time.
it
If you're not
takes-
ready
yeah.
to. I also watched Steel.
Okay.
You've not heard of that one too, fair. But yeah, I just finished watching The Big Fake. It's on Netflix. It's it's about an artist.
The big
The Big Fake?
fake.
Yes.
Fake.
Yes.
Ah,
He was
Okay.
an Italian. I don't know if it's even a true story. I can't remember, but he was a forger, an artist, but a
Okay.
forger,
Okay.
and someone discovered that this your art that you're doing. You are a better forger than an original artist.
Really?
That's what the story was.
Nice.
That's what the story was.
I
So he
like that
then
plot.
leaned into it and he made lots of money. And it's set in.
Ah.
It's actually an Italian movie. I think Netflix has the English of the
Wait,
sound,
nah,
but
no way, I have to
but the
watch
Italian one really hits.
I have to
So
watch
yeah, you should actually. You should. It was really good. I enjoyed it. So yeah,
I think. Hold on. That guy
Mm-hmm.
is like is a real life.
I would need to
Oh,
check to
correct.
be sure. But
Because
it's
there was
mostly- there's a guy like that.
There was I know of a guy in when I was researching like about art and
Yeah.
contemporary art and all that. There was one really prominent guy like that was so good
from Italy.
forging.
Yeah.
Forging art. If he did a lot of and he was making money.
What's his name?
It was I can't remember. It was like it was about 10 years now when I read about
When you
that
read
thing.
about him?
Yeah.
Let me quickly
Well,
check. I think
was
his name was
researching
Tino or something like
things
that.
about art. So they were doing. So there was this podcast on YouTube. Then
Yeah.
they were talking about how to be original.
Okay.
And then they just casually mentioned his name.
Okay.
So I just took note. I was like, okay, let me go look.
Then
this
you went
guy
to
up.
look into it.
Yeah, and then I read, how the guy just did a lot of wonders, in a very suspicious manner.
I think you should watch the movie. It's,
I have
it's,
to.
It's,
I have
it's
to.
for people like you.
I
But it's
have
also
to.
really fun.
I
Also,
like to laugh. Okay.
in the last couple of days, what's like a really interesting thing that happened to you that made you smile? These are just typical questions I ask at the beginning of this thing. Just look at. If you say something that made you pissed now,
It is something that made me.
Yeah, don't worry.
pissed. There's a lot. There's a lot. I wouldn't lie. I think what is going to be tough because this January is
slow.
really slow. And one thing that I can remember right off the top of my head is when Arsenal beat Inter Milan. Yes, you see that one.
I can't relate. Yes, I really can't relate. I don't want to ever be able to relate.
Okay, so that's one because I'm a big Arsenal fan.
Okay.
And we're having a really interesting run right now.
For now.
For now, yeah. So that match, watching it and then seeing the way the boys played and all, it really brought. I think it was barely a week. We're playing another one tonight. So yeah, I think it was last week.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah. So I think it was last week, Champions League. Yeah. So that really made me, I was just ranting.
I saw the memes.
Talking everywhere.
I saw the memes.
So yeah.
That's something.
That's one. But in terms of the second part of it was so there are some pieces that I'm working on and they're beginning to manifest. I really feel very excited whenever I'm approaching the end phase of any artwork. You saw the sculpture that you.
Yeah, I saw that, but I thought you said art. You're never really done with art.
True, but it didn't get me as high as the football own. It didn't really get me there, but it was something that I was like, cause, like I said, December was really hectic for me. Like December was crazy. So coming into the new year and now seeing something like that, like take form.
Yeah.
I feel I'm beginning to anticipate that feeling of.
So you spent the whole of December working on.
Yeah, I worked on multiple projects. Like December was, I even felt sick, and I was still working because I had to deliver some works. I was, because there were some music projects that I was also
Okay.
involved with at the time. So I was just everywhere, just doing a lot of things, and I didn't really finish any of those works until this
This January.
January. Yeah. So
Okay. Okay. That's nice. When you keep saying, "Oh, I was working on a lot of things," what I'm just is he was making a lot of money. He was actually earning a lot. But yeah,
I like that.
I usually wonder, right? As an
I
artist,
like that.
have you like ever sat down to draw yourself? Maybe
That's a
mirror, maybe a
brilliant.
picture.
Now I have a story on that. So there was a time in 2014. I was given an assignment to draw, like,
2014.
to draw ourselves, like self-portrait.
Okay.
So I think the last time I
Was
drew
it for like a
myself
competition or
was,
something?
no, just in Unilag.
Okay.
I was in either 100. Yeah, I think I was in 100 level.
Oh, okay.
2013, 2014. So I was in 100 level. So that was like the first time I would attempt drawing myself with a mirror. And it turned out to be like the highest. I scored the highest mark, like, in class. So I was really bummed, like, I get talent. And since then I did a couple viral sketches of myself as well. The last one I did of myself was Story of My Life. Got an award, a Lawrence Agada Award. And yeah, Story of My Life. That was 2016, 17, I think.
How big was it?
That work was about 4 feet, 3, 4 feet. I think there's an interview on channels that I did on that work. I'm not
Why did
really
you do
sure.
it?
The interview?
No.
The artwork.
Yeah.
Story of My Life.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So it's Story of My Life is so I used to do self-portrait of myself, just sketching, free, like the mirror reference I just told you.
So when
So this time around, I wanted something that was very. So it was around the time I was finishing school, and we were talking about exams and how tough it was. And the interesting thing about that time was you also had to, like, work to make a living,
Yeah.
right? And you're still in school, so you have to do. So I was doing a lot of overnight, and then during daytime I'll do school work, and then I'll do client work here and there and all that.
hustler.
Yeah. So I just felt like, I needed something to capture that phase, that chapter of my life, and the perfect rendition for that was that artwork, because it was a depiction of me in the studio around 2-3 a.m. At night. I think I was either reading or drawing, and then I had this lamp.
Oh, that one with the lamp and
with the lamp.
Okay,
There was like a window
yeah.
at the background of
Right.
it.
Do you know how
so that was
good? No, now that you say you want an award for that, I'm like, oh yeah, that tracks. That tracks, because I saw it. I almost thought it was a picture.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this hyper realistic thing, you've cracked it like mad.
And that was like almost 10 years now.
I looked at that picture and I'm like, it's a picture. It's a picture.
Yeah.
But I then saw the colors and I was like,
Yeah.
story
Story of my life.
No, that's really good. 10 years ago.
That's it. Yeah.
When did you start drawing?
20. I've been drawing since I was
As a child.
a child. Yeah, I've been drawing since basically since primary school. Like, really, I remember I used to draw those quantitative reasoning.
So
all
you
those
draw the
covers.
page. Oh.
Yeah, their covers. I used to replicate them.
Yeah.
And then I got into secondary school. I started drawing all those Messi footballers and all those people. And then from there, I've always been drawing. Like, I've just always been drawing. I drew Fashola one time.
Yeah.
When it was
When it was governor.
Yeah, that was like the first person that I would draw that would make me realize that, like, I drew the work and then I saw people's reaction to it.
Yeah.
So I had to step out of myself. Like, wait, hold on. This thing you're doing is people can really like this thing, because it looked like him. So people were so fascinated. Everybody in the school there was one guy, he drew
Yeah.
So I was like, oh really? Like, all my lecturer teachers at the time, I was like, wow. So that was when I really started taking it more seriously. So I've been drawing for quite quite a while.
Fair
Yeah, for a
enough.
really long time. By the time I got into school, university, I was really good. Like
then why did
drawing,
you
I had all A's in my all my drawing classes.
so that
Like,
means your school was a
oh,
breeze then?
it was the practical side, yeah.
Oh, okay,
But
okay,
the
okay, yeah,
theory,
those
I
are the
struggled a
theory.
bit in theory
Why
because
you
I
don't like
was
reading?
not like I don't like reading. It's just I don't like reading some kinds of things. Like there are things that I like to read about, you know. So yeah. But when you're now trying to force some things in my, I'm like, like let me just write this one and just move on with my life.
Well, it's quite interesting to see that you started drawing right from when you were young. I mean, really, really young.
Yeah.
Typically, normal African parents would be like, "This thing that you're doing, you're
I,
wasting your time.
a
Please go
lot of,
do."
yeah, it happens. It
Did
happens
that
a
also
lot.
happen to you?
Not me, but a lot of my friends that
That
till
were
today
looking,
they
yeah,
still buzz me like, "How more? I wish I had stuck to it or we started this thing together." Like but their parents
just
were
to
not
know,
supportive. They would break theirs. Like there was one guy that came to my studio last December,
yeah,
and he came and he saw the studio and he was he said fuck, like he wished
that
that
he did not
his
stop.
dad,
Yeah,
yeah, just didn't stress him and all that. So basically, they just anytime he draws, it's like, what are you doing with your life? Like, just leave this thing and go and study one kind course. And now the man is now beginning to like support him to like, okay, now
yeah.
do the art. So now he's like starting from scratch. I'm like,
I mean, it's not too late. I guess he's still a young person.
he's still
He's
young.
still,
Yeah,
still
he's
young.
relatively 28, 29. Yeah. So, he just has a lot of work to do. Because if he had started
Yeah,
10
it
years
should be
ago, it would have
easier.
been easier. Yeah. It would have been easier. The leverage I have was also I started early.
Yeah.
I started seeing people, I started meeting people early again. In fact, Unilag was the turning point for me because that was when I really got it. Because I grew up in Ogun State, I went to like 5 secondary schools in 6 years. So, yeah. So I was all over the place. I was just very playful, social. I had a really
Yeah.
balanced upbringing. And I was always in my head like that, playing, doing everything until I got to Unilag and I was like, okay, this is a new environment. Let me work my way up.
So basically, if you did not have like the influence or presence of your uncle, you would still be an artist. Nothing would have stopped you.
Most likely. Most likely. He had a lot of students under him that he was training at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. If he has, I could just be one of them. I would like to go to this
Just
place
join.
and just
Yeah.
join. And it made me realize that if I hadn't gone to him, I probably would have found somewhere else to go that would still give me that avenue to express myself. It was just easier to know that, oh, there's someone in the family that was already doing something like that. So my uncle he just made everything super
Yeah.
smooth, really, really
If
smooth
your
for me.
uncle were
Yeah,
maybe like a failed artist,
really, you
then they would have
get, you
see it did not
get.
work for.
So he just gave me the final conviction I needed.
Okay. So I know you say you are a communicator, right? And I think you also, I don't know, what word did you use? Did you call yourself the keeper of traditions?
Really?
That was not the word you used, but you preserve traditions, something like that.
Okay.
So you
Was
come,
he here today? Did I
not
meet?
today,
Oh, that
not
was
today,
on Monday. Okay. Huh.
not on Monday still, but it's
Mm.
something that you call
Oh,
yourself.
really? Oh,
But
okay.
you're not sure that you
I
call yourself.
probably, yeah, I say things like that. I
But what's the word
we
you'd rather use as opposed to keeper or preserver?
so I used to say it in different ways.
Okay.
Sometimes I say we we need to document our history,
Yeah,
document
our
our
actual
culture.
history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a way to document it is through art.
Yes.
And I happen to be, I'm very heavy on that. So a lot of my works, a lot of my projects were about things that people don't really talk about that happened in history, like the African Kings, Female Kings project
Okay.
and all that. So along that line, I would say I document history, and I also preserve, like I go back to bring things, because if you document history, it's not enough. That's one part of it. You also have to like draw up lessons from that thing you've just documented, and then use it to like orchestrate what the future is going to be like. Yeah, so it's two sides of the same coin. So you have to see yourself as someone that looks to the past and also shapes the future, because I believe that the future is, we can actually predict the future. Meant, yeah.
But so I guess when you talk about it that way, it then makes sense that in your works, I think The Crown, I believe, or at least the Ila collection,
Yeah.
you tried to do a bunch of blending of traditions and modernity and things like that. So I guess that tracks. But besides you wanting to bring the past and show into the future, what else is it that you find very fascinating about the past and wanting to merge those two together for people to actually see that there is nothing new?
Um, a lot of what I resonate with culturally, historically, is how we, African, the concept of African art
Okay.
involves functionality
What do you mean by
and
that?
aesthetics.
Okay.
Like so many things from way back that I've observed, from our architectures, our buildings, our
Yes.
pots, stoves, our, objects and stuff
Yeah.
from way back had a lot of, they were functional,
Yeah.
and they were also beautiful.
Yes.
They were beautiful. You could have a kind of lamp that you would look at like, this lamp is nice. You could literally just frame that lamp.
Did you see that video of I think someone made a video of old mud houses, right? As in the architecture, I think not the small mud houses that we have now, the actual mud houses that were really large,
Oh wow.
and they looked like art basically
Yeah.
because we use we used to use mud houses as some form of functionality, like you said.
Yeah.
It wasn't just let's just build something and then let's carry the mud. It was really functional. Even the cups that we used to use,
Exactly.
almost flask that's coming to my mind. The calabasha, the
Yeah.
mud calabash thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why I can't remember the name now, but yeah, those things, they were really functional. And if you then see them, because I think there's a lady on Instagram now that does clay pots that has like a tap thing attached to it. So I don't know if you've seen it.
I
She
don't
has like
consume a lot of things
isha
like that.
molded
Yeah.
as a clay pot for preserving water or liquids,
Beautiful.
and then there's a tap attached to it.
Beautiful.
So if you have that, you literally do not need a fridge.
See?
It is just there.
That
And
is
I was just
core. That is the core of
Yeah.
what African art is.
And when you look at it, you're like, well, this thing is actually fine, and it actually does something. And even when we look at the basic architecture of how we used to build our houses
That's 30
then,
minutes.
in that circular communal way, it was to keep everybody together.
Yes,
That kind of
yes.
thing. So when you're stepping out of your house, you are literally seeing somebody else's
Yes.
kidding. But yeah, you just go ahead with what you're saying.
So that's really what fascinates me, and a lot of what I create,
Yeah.
I try to align it with that concept. Also, I try to make it not just beautiful but functional. And in terms of functional, it doesn't have to be very concrete. It doesn't have to be like the rigid concept of function. You could learn from something it's already performed its function. So I try to incorporate that into a lot of what I do, and that's what led me to the Benin and the Yoruba. Trying to read about so much of their visual attributes and
Yeah.
incorporating that into the crown.
Yeah.
So that was what I used for as like the stepping stone to like, okay, let me work something out. And then there's also a functional side of it because there's a 3D adaptation of the crown
Okay.
that I'm working on.
Okay.
Yeah. So the crown 1 and 2 is like the king and the queen. Do you play chess?
Yeah, I'm aware of the game.
Okay, okay. So eventually I'm trying to work the sculptures in a way that they would represent chess pieces.
Okay.
And
So there
then
will be other.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
there are other. I already have the concept sketched already. I just haven't had time to finish everything yet.
So you're into chess like
But
that.
eventually, I love playing chess. I love it. I love it. So
Okay.
eventually, I'm going to adapt them into like a game of chess. And so there's the art, and then there's the chess piece of it, and then there's the sculpture, monuments, and installations, and what have you. So art can just take on so many forms like that. Yeah.
In terms of appreciation, because you say you try to bring out the beauty that we have in our traditions and our cultures, right? I don't know. Who are the people that really appreciate it the most? Would you say we Nigerians are the ones that really appreciate the work, or international people, foreigners, internationally, based on your experiences, of course?
That's a very tricky question because that question is that question is something that in house we used to talk about this, but we avoid saying it on camera. For a lot of political reasons. And
Okay.
but I think the reason why I think the challenge we face in art is we don't have, it's not like we don't appreciate it as much in Africa or Nigeria. It's just that we don't have the culture of preservation. We're not strong in terms of preserving or maintaining things. So that habit is, I think, that is what is heavily ingrained in the Western world, and that's why it appears as though, things are better there. They pay more. They appreciate.
They value it
They,
more.
yeah, the
Yeah.
value more because there are systems in place and there are programs to support artists. I heard of a government program in either in Finland or somewhere like that. They were paying about 1,800 artists every
Wow.
month. Yeah, for like 18 months. Yeah, for like 18 months. They will just no strings attached.
They'll just be
Just
working.
enroll once
Yeah.
you're selected. Every month they'll be giving you like
Or
$1,000.
you don't have to like remit some.
You do nothing, nothing.
They'll just be paying you.
Probably even tax free. They will just give you monthly. Monthly,
Wow,
yeah.
soft work.
For some artists, the number of artists, yeah.
Do you have to be
So
a citizen?
yes,
Okay.
you have to reside in that country, and I think they did it in US too. Maybe some artists in New York or something like that. It
Yeah.
was really, so I was,
So when you hear things like that, you wish
yeah,
we.
those things are, and that's why we have a lot of people now that are going, that are traveling.
Yeah.
They'll just, people go under the guise of like, oh, academics,
Yeah.
oh, they want to go and do masters, all that. But that's why, because things like that, incentives like that attract people.
Yes,
People feel more
definitely.
appreciated, and so I think that's what we just need to do more of here. We need to like, and it's systemic. It has to be in the constitution. Like it has to be programs that we are intentional about. We have to make sure, and the people that can only do it is government and big institutions. But everyday regular citizens can also do it. Try to support artists, and that way it encourages artists to create more and not necessarily look outside. You know.
I know you've probably done like some form of an exhibition. I think, was it the Oni of Ife?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and based on that, do you think, okay, if you speak with a couple of government organizations or something like that, that okay, this would be a nice incentive to give to a select few, do you think it's something that they can consider?
Oh yeah, why not? In fact, I'm currently in talks with a lot of government agencies
Yeah.
in line with that. There are some secret projects and initiatives that I and my team are kind of like trying to set up as an infrastructure to create space for artists. So there's no better people to talk to than the government
Government.
agencies and all that, and also my high profile clients. So yeah, they're currently, if I'm in the middle of championing those kinds of conversations already. I just wouldn't say much about it now, but yeah, there are
See,
plans for
all
there are
when
plans
we
for
spoke the other day and you were
it's
saying, oh, I actually do want to be one of the people that are, at the top of the ones that create exhibitions or
oh,
programs and
okay,
things like
okay.
that. I thought you were still wishing. I hope you know.
No, it's not issue at this. There are proper documentations, like proper contracts, like we're writing a lot of things, a lot of, I can't really say much about it now, but like
Okay, okay,
it's,
okay. You know what?
it's there are steps,
But those kinds of works
yeah.
now, do they have to, cater to a certain audience? Do they have to be telling a particular kind of story?
uh they have to serve a purpose.
Okay.
Whatever the purpose is left for the artist and the brain behind the project to craft. There's no one way to approach the topic of art.
Yeah.
However, it has to serve a purpose. But whatever that purpose is, as long as it's communal and it's uplifting socially, it's beneficial, it contributes to the betterment of everybody one way or another. Yeah, that's about it. Generally, though, the kind of art that resonates in the contemporary art space are very niche. Like there's a certain kind of topic, a certain kind of initiative that curators, galleries, and all that kind of like want to see more of.
What has giving like a
I
couple of
think
examples?
things like topic like how like African history,
Okay.
identity, and things that has to do with like human interactions with like culture and how those topics are very nuanced. But if you really are involved in the art space, you would observe that those narratives are kind of like what sells a lot.
Yeah.
They get more support, more funding, and if you as an artist are also looking to target that market,
Yeah.
you have to observe all those topics, all those stories, and then see how you can work your way around it. Black culture, like how we see ourselves, how we portray ourselves as a community, those kind of things resonate a lot with stakeholders in the contemporary arts thing. So
So do you then? I know I've asked you something similar to this, but do you then try to fit into those boxes with your work?
yeah, well, I try to, and I also try not to,
Okay.
because it's a silver line. It's so there's a way I see it. I try to create to not necessarily with the intention of getting a particular person's attention or a
Okay.
particular market's attention. I read everything. I see everything. I see the patterns. I see the topics that they like to see. I see everything. And I also try to do what I want to do. So it's like the
You
intersection
try to
of,
blend the both of them.
yeah, exactly. So, cause I can be very so I another thing about what I'm trying to do is it's not even going to it's not going to make sense now, but it's in 10, 20 years time. You know, I don't see a lot of a lot of tech involved in what we do in the
What do
arts.
you mean?
A lot of so when we're very traditional, like, you know, paintings,
Yeah.
sculptures, you know, statistically paintings sell the most. You know,
Okay.
painting, if you look at auctions, the
Yeah.
highest priced works in history,
They're
all that
painting.
African art, you know, the likes of Benu, the most
Yeah.
expensive African artists ever, you
Do they
know.
still sell those?
Yeah, the auctions, yeah.
Really? I would
Yeah.
think that they're probably in museums or something like that.
But there are people that has his work in their private collections, and then his works are also in museums. The ones in museums are mostly permanent collections, so you can't
Okay.
really find those ones in the market. But for
Unless you
individual
forge.
collectors, you say?
Unless you forge.
I saw what you did there. You know, but there are individual collectors that, you know, they still. I think the last auctioned piece of I didn't really follow the gist, sha, but I think it was 2 years ago or so. Benmo, yeah, they're still his works are
So
still
they sell for like how much?
ah
50 million.
it's quite. I think probably not up to $50 million, but in the millions, it was millions of dollars.
My one is, how do they then acquire these works?
Well, it's again, you have to be involved in the space. You know, when you're involved in the space, you know, informations always go around. You know,
No,
you
no,
have art advisors.
I mean like how it started. For them to start seeing value in the work and then maybe
Okay.
then looking for maybe his previous works that he did not put out and things like
Okay.
that. And I'm wondering how it all started, that people then started to see value in his work. Or had it always been that way from the beginning?
No, no. You know, it's not always been that way. It's a gradual. It's like an awareness thing.
Yeah.
You know, when you have value and you decide to be an artist, people don't see it at first. You have to continue to be an artist.
Yeah.
You have to work with high profile people, go to the right institutions, you know, win the right awards, meet the right people over time. So it's
Yeah.
over the decades, and then the market begins to like value your work. Like, okay, this guy is, you know, this guy is really hot. He's hot, and then they start pricing you. And more importantly, is in fact the value of a lot of artists is after they've died.
Yeah. It's usually a
So
thing.
once they die, that means there is a limit. It's a market thing. It's a supply demand
Yeah.
thing.
Because now you cannot get new ones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that in itself just pegs the value of the work. Like, okay, now the works are limited. Okay, based on the foundation he has built while he was still alive, you know, then that will determine the trajectory of how valuable the work becomes after his death. So you have to have done a lot of work. You can't just decide and say, oh, you know, maybe when I die now, my works will. Nah, it doesn't work like that. You know, it doesn't
I mean,
work
when you're
like
dead,
that.
you're dead. You don't even know what is happening.
Exactly. And there's a story of Van Gogh. You know Vincent Van
Yeah,
Gogh.
at least I know the name.
It
And I've
was
seen a
after he
couple,
died,
that's,
you know,
yeah.
that his work, and I think there was a story of how it was a lot of the documentation.
I think he lived as a poor man. Right?
Yeah, very very poor. So it was his in-law that maybe his in-law or someone really close to him with his family that took a lot of the journaling behind the paintings and then took those stories and
Attached it to
started selling them or
the
moving
people
them
now
around.
started
So
understanding
people started
what,
understanding the story behind the works,
work.
and then that was how the market started responding to the, oh wow, I like this work, and then knowing that the works are limited, you know, people now wanted more of it, and that was how one thing led to another, and Van Gogh is Van Gogh now. So,
Oh. So I guess now I understand why you even from the name, when I see your works, even from the name, I'm like, interesting name. So it's one of things like that. You then have to have a story behind your
it's
work.
always very important to have a story behind your work. The story is the context. The story is the building block. It's the, you know, it's the butter to the bread. It just envelopes everything, and yeah, you always have to. Sometimes you feel like doing something. I can look at you now and just feel like sketching and just do something.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to create because you see something that you
Yeah.
like. Yeah, that could also work. But a lot of time, the story is usually more important. Like the story is what adds meaning to.
So if you do something that you would tag as basic and then you think of a very interesting story, you feel like people would then see it and be like,
And you can always reverse engineer it like that. Sometimes the story comes before the work. Sometimes the
yeah,
work, you create the work and then you now think of like, what can I say about this? Either way, you can still work around that. But it's always important to have something reasonable to say, to talk about.
are there like some of your collections where you were having kind of like a hard time with telling a story, maybe after you had done it or before?
Yeah, of course. I've had some works that I did that I wasn't really sure. In fact, it's not, and that's the thing about being an artist. It's not all your works that would always hit that
Yeah,
mark. There are some works you do, you just not like it. You just not
really.
feel it. Yeah, I've done a
Even
few
after you're
works that,
done.
yeah, yeah. You do some works, and there was a time I did some works, and I had an issue with the muse, and I was like, am I going to tear this work? Like, because I did it at the time when we were really good, and they
Yeah,
did something that inspired me, and I was moved, and blah blah blah. And then over time, things changed. The
yeah.
relationship just went.
A girlfriend.
So I was now looking at the work like, waiting be this, you know. So that in itself is, imagine that kind of dynamic. Like, what can I, so
Oh
it's
my god! Did you
just.
say
Is
it?
no, I still have it. I still have it. It's just I just keep it at the back of my
That's
wardrobe.
actually quite interesting because I usually wonder how, because I feel like creating stuff, especially as an artist, comes from an inner part of you.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So have relationships morphed how you work? Maybe your love life. Have they,
Not.
as you have evolved, right?
Yeah,
And it definitely, maybe let me not guess. As you evolve, it definitely affects your work. Yeah.
yeah, it does.
So in terms of your love life and also how you're growing and how you meet people and how you associate yourself with them, does it also affect your work?
Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, just like I've said, we thrive on relationships. So many things we do is built on how we see ourselves in the world, our place in the world. So it reflects in the works you do, and the power engine to that is people. And then once, sometimes you feel good about people, and other times things change. And there was, I think, I once thought about having a concept of like documenting the 20-year journey of someone one time. It was like 2 years and we just had an issue, and so I was like, the 20-year vision is I can't even continue.
Wow.
Maybe I could do it for maybe when I give birth to a child, I could have a series of, because that would be a new experience for me. I could have, it's something that I've thought about. I could have, it could be a film project. Funny enough, it could be an art film sound project of like, oh, okay, this baby going through this phase of life. I could make that into something phenomenal, and I'm really looking forward to
Why, why,
that.
why why didn't you just do it for maybe like your parent or something?
I have one for my mom.
Okay.
So I've been interviewing her,
Your dad don't call.
and
Justice.
so
Men matter. Oh my god, I bet your dad probably see this and be like,
oh my God. Well,
okay.
my dad too is a huge part of my life. It's just that my dad, because of what he does, he's not always around and all that. So
Yeah.
so my mom is more around, so
So you already have that
so
going on for your mom.
eventually, yeah, I do.
How
So
many years?
eventually, it's so I it was it's not long. like just 2 years now to three
Okay.
years, but I still want to keep it going for as long. Hopefully, she lives for as long
Yeah,
as
longer than you.
yeah.
So that you don't
you
have
know.
to ah so you don't anyway, let me not bring that up. Like,
So
yeah.
I'm just exploring that and seeing where it leads. So yeah.
Funny how you mention pictures, sounds, and what else did you mention? Anyway,
Film.
yes, film.
Okay.
Film. Apparently now you also want to be a filmmaker.
Yeah,
Added to
I
being a
love it.
musician.
I
I
love it.
think eventually we would let's hold on the music for now. Hold on the music.
Okay.
Is this the music part? Is this something you even take seriously?
Ah, if I wasn't an artist, I would have
Being a
just been a,
musician,
yeah, big,
really?
like big time, big time. Like
Because
I
I've
would
seen you
have,
playing the drums and all of
yeah.
that.
I play the keys, the keyboard. I produce, like, I have songs that I've finished properly now that I've not
I'm actually quite
released. So
curious. How were you able
it's
to then decide that okay, let me do
the
visual
art.
arts? Yeah.
Because that was the first, that's my first love, and would always have that edge over everything else. So it just makes sense for me to stick to it and build on it, and then use that as a stepping stone to other things that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because if you're multi-talented like that,
Yeah,
you have to
because
be
I know.
careful.
Yeah, it can be very
Yeah,
difficult.
it is. It is. There are people like that are equally as good as me, but they don't have any. They don't really have traction in all these things because they're too
Yeah,
scattered.
because they want to do everything. Yeah.
So I knew early. I've read books from multi-potentialite people that
Yeah.
have experienced this, and I knew early. So I kind of like, just okay, let me pick the art and just focus on it well, give it like 5, 10 years, build it well. But while I was still working on the arts, I was always producing, always
Okay.
learning. Take my laptop. I had all these HPs then, so I would always learn, go out to hang out with musicians. In fact, I have more music friends than art
Then art
friends.
friends.
Yes, I have more DJs, musicians, and then I have artists.
Yeah.
So I just have them, like, I've always had them around.
Yeah.
So that just kept me in that space of like, this music thing, this music
Yeah.
thing, this music. So it's always been there. It
And one
has
interesting
always,
thing about artists is
always,
that they like to hang around themselves
yeah,
somehow.
yeah.
So they're usually friends.
Oh yeah,
Basically, they're
yeah.
usually friends.
Well, it's a small village. Everybody sabi everybody. So
Yeah,
you know,
but when you mentioned, oh, there's some people that you read about them and how they were able to navigate theirs. Who are some of the people that kind of like influenced your work?
um, well, funny enough, it's there's a lady, Adora.
Okay,
Yeah, Adora. She has a book, this thing called Purpose.
this thing called Purpose. Is it
Yeah,
Adora
Lumina.
Lumina?
Yes.
Ah,
Yeah.
interesting.
So I watch her. She's really good at a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I watch how she kind of like manages things, and I saw that, and I'm like, I like this.
Have you gotten a chance to actually speak with her?
Oh yeah, Adora. She's like my mentor and a friend also.
Yeah.
I've met her, I think, once or twice. We spoke. The last time we spoke, it was even at our house. It was for like 2, 3 hours. Like, we were just talking about a lot of things, and so she was even supposed to come to. I had a show last year, but because of schedule and all that, she couldn't
Yeah.
make it. Yeah.
Ila.
So yes,
Oh, okay.
yes. So because of schedule, she couldn't make it. But we still talk. We still talk.
You
We
see,
have some things building up to underground.
don't worry, I'm here for it. Funny thing about Eli is that when I first saw the name,
Oh, okay.
I pronounced it as Ila, but I'm like, that doesn't sound right. That is okro.
Ila.
I'm like,
Nice.
no, 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 no,
Nice.
no. Yes. So when you then said it's Ila, I'm like, okay, yeah.
Ila. Yeah.
So can you
Ila is
tell me
mine.
more about that? Those are the ones that had the facial marks.
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So Ila was basically a product of um curiosity, really, because my mom had the Ila on her face, but
The
it was
one.
Yes,
1-1.
just
Okay.
1-1.
Funny fact. Yesterday, I met someone. I think he's in his early 30s. I just saw him. I went for like a small event, and when I was leaving, I just saw him. He was coming in. I saw the marks very clear. I'm
Wow.
like, where are you from?
Wow.
When did you get these? And then it's like, he's always had them.
How
Like,
old is this person?
he's in his early 30s.
Oh,
Right? He said when he was growing up, he hated the marks. Right? It
there are a
was,
lot of them.
that was not till his early 20s that he then started to see it as a part of his identity, and he fell in love with it. And he's like, if I did not have these marks, I would probably not be who I am, and things like that. But that was just very interesting. Yeah, it was very interesting.
It to
Yeah, I actually wished I had time to talk to him, because I was kind of just leaving when things were getting kind of hot somehow, and he was just coming up like, see, you go enjoy yourself.
Where did you meet him?
Laughter Cave.
Oh, where's that?
Do you know Laughter Cave? It's somewhere in Ikoyi. They do shows every Tuesdays and Fridays. They have 2 shows in the evening, 6 p.m., 9 p.m. So I went for the 6 p.m. one. I was already leaving around past 9 thereabouts. So I'm like, see me, I have somewhere I need to go. But yeah, it was just cool to have that short conversation with him, and he's like, look, these marks, they are me.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And it was just interesting. I wish I would have been able to maybe have 5 more minutes with the guy and ask just how the transition was. How did you then come to realize and accept the marks and all of that? But it was just very interesting. But yeah,
stories like that is in fact, it's the story of how they probably used to hate it, and then they will now like it, and how some used to like it, but when they grew up and started interacting with people start making, and then they now hate it. So that contrast was what
you tried to explore.
Was what made me look into it. Like, this is quite fascinating. I would like to.
And then there are the people that don't care. They're like, it's there.
Just very indifferent about it. And funny enough, foreigners really appreciate it more. Like people outside, people that are not Africans.
Yeah, but if you ask them
to, they are intrigued. Like, oh wow, there was Mr. Mufu Onifade was saying something. Who is a contributor to the project.
Okay.
He was saying of how he traveled, and then someone almost wanted to marry him because of that mask. A white lady said she wanted to say, you are not going anywhere. This man, you are a king. You are, I say, wow. You say, say, I've always dreamt of marrying an African king. And said, so it wasn't maybe joke. So people really appreciate it in some parts of the world, and then they come here, and then some of their colleagues will be joking, mocking them. How come now? This thing is a beautiful thing.
It's either they make fun of it, or they just do like they don't see it.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's just orientation.
I think it's also see finish.
I
think it's also see finish.
See finish.
Unless the marks are very huge, that's when people then want to say something about it. Because my dad has this friend. I don't know. You know the story about the boy that he saw that his teacher, I think he went to his new school, then he saw that his teacher has tribal marks, and then went home and told his brother that, his teacher has marks, is like he was injured or something like that. And then the brother then told him, no, it's because he fought with a tiger. And then, do you know that story?
I think I've heard stories like that. That fight
with a tiger, tiger. That's how we then got the mark.
I've heard stories like that.
So this man I'm describing, he actually looks like he fought with a tiger.
Which can be a good thing though. Because now when you're talking about the match, you can just I fought with this tiger, so I conquered so many nations, and this is like my souvenir. So that's it. There are stories like that we've heard, that even Mr. Mufu was saying it then, that the lady was particular. Did you, was this
Was it an
something?
injury? Did you fight with
Yeah,
somebody?
exactly.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a victorious thing. Like, oh yeah, it's a
So I'm
beautiful
telling you
thing.
that if he had said, "Oh yes, I actually fought," she would have believed.
Probably, yeah.
She would have
He
believed.
probably even said itself or something. I don't
Yeah.
even know how the story ended, but it was a positive one, really positive.
So when you then do an entire collection about something like this, of course, yeah, you also feel a certain way about it. What message are you then trying to pass across with these works?
That's a really brilliant question because it's the crux of everything.
Yeah.
It's at the center of everything. Like,
Yeah.
why this?
Yeah.
You know. So the message is for us to see ourselves as enough.
Yeah.
We don't have to look outside of people wear wigs these days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good. I saw a data somewhere in Japan or South Korea where the ladies are now trying to, like, this Afro hair
Yeah,
thing
yeah, yeah.
is now beginning to
Be a
become. I'm
thing.
like, hey, you see, like, why are you? It's just like brainwashing. Like, we have something that is beautiful, but we don't value it. You see, finish. We don't.
Yeah.
Oh, because say now we see it every day, so there is nothing new.
I think it's also like a part of the mentality of, I don't like saying this, it's the it's the white man because I don't usually like saying that, but part of it is also the colonized mentality of seeing their hair as better. It's a whole big deal. Black women hair is a
Yeah.
big deal in America and in other parts of the world, and even here I just feel it should not be a problem here.
It's propaganda now. They're just changing the narrative and making it look
especially
like,
especially workspaces, right? There was a
yeah.
time I was doing like a regular 9 to 5, and I would always just wear a wig. And if you know me, I don't like wasting my time on my looks. So each morning I'll bring out my straightener,
Yeah.
I'll be straightening the hair.
It just
And I'm like,
wasn't
what the
natural
hell
to
is
you.
this?
Yeah.
At some point, I just, I had a bigger afro then. So it wasn't so big that I had to pack it, but it was big. So I'll then comb my hair and push it down, right? So when they wanted to do content, because they'll see my hair, okay, it's neat, they'll not want to talk, right? So when I was going to put like a picture on my profile, they were like, "Oh, you have to wear a wig." I'm like, "Nah, I'm not wearing a wig." So it was even Big Sam that helped me edit wig on my head. We edited
Shout outs to
it.
Big Sam.
Edited wig on my head. So yeah, that was what I had to do. But
Wow.
each morning, what I'll do is then I'll just pull my comb through it a bit, do whatever the fuck it is,
Yeah.
and I'm out. But if it's that, see, 20 minutes I'm sitting down trying to do something that relates to my hair, but I don't want to.
Okay.
That kind of thing. But yeah, you were talking about the whole essence of.
So that's it. I feel like the mark is just, there's going to be many other touch points. It's just that I saw that mark as like a very good way to start the conversation around elevating our perception of ourselves. Seeing that there's beauty, there's value in a lot of all these things that we're kind of like, and people till today still, nah, I don't like it. I don't know. It's
I think
condescending. It's
we don't even
degrading.
we don't even do it very seriously in Nigeria. If you see other parts of Africa, you'd see the marks look like keloids, and they're artistically done that you get the same mark everywhere. So I'm like, nah, this is actually quite beautiful. So I'm like,
It is.
why wouldn't you? I don't know. Maybe you might have your reasons for not wanting to have it, but when you see it, you should be able to be like, nah, this looks.
You
This
you
actually
just
looks
have
good.
to accord that, reverence, that appreciation. Like, oh, there's something in this thing. It's not demonic. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not as.
But I think there are some marks that have some spiritual connotations to them. Though I think there are some that is they attached to like a rite of passage type of thing.
Yeah, there is. There's been encounters where I spoke to people that they have the marks and they credited it to like how it's meant to preserve their spiritual essence. There's something called reincarnate and all that. So the marks are like how I think there's this lady that had she gave birth to so they gave birth to her and then she had the same mark as the grandma or the mom or something just before the grandma had died like weeks before she was giving birth to and she had the exact same mark. So there's something they call akudaya also.
Okay.
So that's like a stillborn. So I read something on someone that I think they had to save the baby by giving the mark.
It was the same thing as the guy that I met. He said when he was born, I think he felt ill almost immediately. So whatever process that they did, it involved having to give him the marks.
Yes, that's I heard the story. I was like, this is heavy, like. And when you look at it and you look at the facts and it adds up, you begin to look deeper. Like, oh, more because if someone had, imagine someone giving birth, and all the children are dying, and
then you do this.
They did the thing, and then the guy survived. So you're like, there's something in this. So there's just a thousand. In fact, it's still an ongoing research. I'm still trying to profile them because even those kinds of marks are still extensively going to be featured in so many visual archives that I'm building up. So because like you said, they are intricate, they are artistically done.
Yes.
Some of them are more complex.
Yes.
Some are very simple. So yeah, there's a lot of different reasons as to how people do them, and when you look into it, when you approach all these things with curiosity, then you begin to see the essence of like there is beauty in how things used to be done in the past, and we need to document, we need to preserve that thing. We need to preserve it. We need to be able to, okay, 1,000 years from now, even if nobody is really doing it anymore, we don't see marks on their faces, let it be known
that they did, and
that there was a time that things like this were. So I wanted my works to be like the monument for that period of time. So that was also why I felt like, it's very important for me to create the work. So that's my why.
So that means there'll be more artworks. There'll be Ilatu.
Eventually there will be.
I know I think sometime last year, you and Big Sam, you guys were working on some sort of documentary where you had an interview with two ladies about their marks.
Beautiful. That's Soul Sisters.
Soul Sisters.
So again, that's I had to take all this from like talking to actually doing it. So I was like, okay, let's do something for shout outs to Big Sam, because in fact Big Sam was very crucial to Big Sam. I don't even give credit to him as much as I should, but eventually
Big Sam is in the studio, his head is swelling that he has to pat his head to bring it down.
So he was the one that helped me arrange that first phase of like documentary. And we're still working on it, because at the point I thought we lost the files, but I'm happy that we have the files back. So that would motivate me to take things up. So Soul Sisters was from two beautiful ladies that we invited them to the studio, and they'd never met prior to coming to the studio. So I wasn't really expecting the balanced contrast. One of them liked the mark. She was really confident. She speaks fluently. She's like, at the point you'll be like, you get phonation and Yankee them going. Like you get she speaks really nice. And I love her aura and energy. Like, she's just really. In fact, we need to do another session of podcast with all these girls.
I'm going to make sure she sees this.
So so I was like, man, this is. I just love the energy. And then the other lady too, very beautiful. Oh my God. And then she just didn't like the mark.
Oh,
She didn't like it, and so I was like, oh wow, this is really beautiful to see. So originally, I wanted to do the works separately, like individual pieces, because I think that's the only work in the Ila series that had more than just one face. So it was like a composition, and that was what inspired it. The fact that we had two of them say two different things, and then they now kind of bonded, like they got
yeah.
together. I saw them, they were talking, laughing, smiling, and all that. We took pictures of them together, beautiful pictures. So I was now like, oh, okay. Instead of doing them separately, I think it
Do them
makes sense to
together.
just put
Do them
them
together.
together. So that was what gave birth to Soul Sisters. And Soul Sisters it's the beginning of great things, I think in decades.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that is still tied to that, but I'm happy we're able to hit the ground running on that.
I'm sure the lady that did not like the marks, I'm sure that day would have been that day where she'll start thinking. I think she would look at herself differently from that day on.
Trust me, she has
It would be
to.
quite
She
interesting to
has to.
get her again and ask her, okay, so what do you think about the marks now?
Yeah,
That kind of thing.
eventually.
But when you're saying you're thinking 10 in the so is it in terms of Ila or
Yeah,
or
everything is
exactly, yeah,
connected. Everything is connected.
even with
Everything is
other
connected. Yeah, other project.
projects.
Yeah, everything is always connected. So that's why there's a story of James Cameron, the producer of Avatar. He did some sketches because he used to be a really beautiful artist. So he
Or
did
it
it.
still
He
is.
did, yeah. He did some works in. He developed some concepts in 1978 or thereabouts. And it wasn't until recently, like 20, 30 years later, when he started Avatar,
Avatar, yeah.
that one of the scenes there were inspired by
Something he drew then.
exactly. So I recently just saw the documentary, and so when I saw that, I was like,
That is
that's
it.
it.
Yeah.
Because I've always there is when you're trying to do something, but you don't really see references.
Yeah.
You don't really know where to look to
Yeah.
validate your
What you are,
ideas,
yeah.
to validate, and then you see something like that, and you're like, aha. So it turns out like this thing that I'm thinking is practical.
Yeah,
It's
someone is
it
already doing it,
exists.
yeah.
So I love it. That's why I said, I'm a communicator. I see myself expressing all these different forms of art to better tell the story of how we
Yeah.
see ourselves and all that. So working on the Soul Sisters is just one of the other things I have on the pipeline, and eventually I will. It's not, and the interesting thing is, it's not like you have all the answers figured out
Yeah.
at once. It's not like you have extreme clarity.
Yeah.
You just know that, okay, this is what I want to do, and you're clear on what you don't want to do. So the fact that you're clear on what you don't want to do puts you in that good position of like, okay, now that I know exactly what I don't want to do,
Yeah. You can then try
let me
different
now,
things, yeah.
yeah, navigate. And I see all these things. It's going to take time because
Yeah. Some
it's
things you don't rush really.
yeah,
Because the things
exactly.
that you're making reference to from years before, they happened at a stretch of years.
Exactly.
So it's not something that you
You don't
rush.
need to rush it. Yes.
Okay. So when you're then saying the Soul Sisters and the little influence that James got, well, I don't think it's little. It's a huge one because
Massive.
the way you explained it was like a light bulb going off in your head.
It
That
was.
this is that kind of thing. So when it then comes to how extensive you want your work to be, is that how it had been from the beginning of when you were still in school, when you were pretty much just drawing stuff and doing assignments and people's projects and things like that? Did you think, okay, at some point, maybe what I was doing then would have some form of value or impact into what I'm doing now? Or you were just doing stuff?
I was just trying to get by at the time. I knew eventually I needed to have more clarity and structure in place, but I was just, like everything else, you realize that you need time to like be clear on it. But sometimes when you're trying to take 20 steps, it can be overwhelming. So you just start with like the first one, and then the next one, and then the next one. So eventually things become more clearer to you.
From everything I'm hearing you saying, it seems it's not even it seems. You seem okay, let me use that word sim.
Yeah, you
You
can.
seem very dedicated to what you do.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, that is nice. Yeah, you probably then you have the encouragement of you being yourself and wanting to tell stories and communicate with people the kinds of stories you want to tell them. Yeah, I'm sure awards can be a thing that can ginger you in that kind of way. Those awards they come with money.
Some, yeah.
Some.
Some.
So for you to then be thinking 30 years from now, that means you're like, okay, I'm definitely going to keep doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true.
I know we've spoken about your documentaries somehow,
Okay.
right? That you want to start making films and all of that. And
Okay.
from what you said about the Soul Sisters, and I usually do not like to say scarification, but the tribal marks stories,
You can use facial body marks.
facial body marks, yeah. And you want to take that on to another level. And from what I hear you saying, it seems as though it's not going to be limited to a particular tribe.
Mm, yes. Eventually, it's not going to be limited, but the lens is for so there are different ways it can go, but I don't have clarity on that yet. It could be streamlined to just because I'm Yoruba, right?
Yeah,
So I could as well just decide to
to leave it at that.
leave it at that.
But you can do so much more.
But exactly. So eventually it's so that brings me back to the taking it one step at a time. So it could be 20 steps ahead of me, like, oh, we could do so much more. Yeah, eventually, but if I think like that, like I would
Yeah,
be so overwhelmed. So sometimes I just like to
taking one step at
take it
a
one step
time.
at a time. Let me focus on what I can do now. This is within reach. I can easily talk to 50 Yoruba people with facial marks and call them
But
for
I,
interviews and
but I
all that.
feel like when you're speaking to like 50 Yorubas with facial marks, at some point, some people will be telling the same stories. That's what you think?
Well, 50 is just an hypothetical. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be 50. But the key point now is to now narrow it down to the point where you don't really, you can always extract different stories from. You'll be shocked at how what people have to say. People can say the same thing, but there's always that factor of one in them. Like you can't replicate. You like their experience is going to be different from this person
Definitely.
next to
Yeah.
hand. So you wouldn't want to overlook those little
Differences and nuances. Yeah,
differences
yeah,
and
yeah.
individual. So that could also play a major part in it. So eventually it can go as far as it could get, but I'm just taking it like, let me just keep it within what I can maintain for now, and then eventually, once the capacity is larger, once the resources is larger, we're going to take more,
Thank you for mentioning
more.
resources and capacities.
Aha! So
When
welcome to this new chapter.
you
you
say
know.
resources and
So yeah,
capacities, what do you mean?
yeah. In terms of human capital and the
Yeah.
financial capital, yeah. Those two are very to bring ideas to life. You need a lot
Yeah,
of
you need,
that. Yeah,
yeah.
you need space. You need mental clarity. You need yeah. You need money to fund a lot of ideas and yeah. So that's once we build to that point, then it makes sense to reinvest those resources back into the project and the people and just keep building up from there.
There's this notion that people have about artists,
Okay.
right? Even with performing artists, not the big musicians, even the regular musicians,
Okay.
right? And them earning in a society where things can change at any time, right? There's based on how the work is, It's not all the time you'll be selling artworks. It's not all the time you're probably working on something. It's not all the time grants come in. It's not all the time you win an award that also comes with money. I just wonder how you tend to manage yourself in slow periods, that kind of thing. What encourages you in those times? How are you able to hold yourself together?
For artists, it's very important for them to understand what they're getting into, so that you can prepare yourself, prepare your mind, prepare your team, prepare your friends, prepare everything to allow you withstand the storm and the pressure. So how I tend to manage myself in seasons of, not so heavy inflow of money,
Yeah.
is, I think I would, okay, let me just play the script. So I think I would split it into two,
Yeah.
right? So we can think about the period when you have some cash flow,
Yeah.
and then the period you don't have the cash flow. So the period you have those cash flow is kind of like contingent, like it determines how severe the period you don't have those cash flow would hit you. And what I've noticed is that people don't invest strategically. People, artists, people today will say, oh, they don't have money, they don't do that, they don't do that.
Because I know that one of the reasons why parents are usually against one being an artist or doing something out of the regular 9 to 5 and all of that, or doing the normal office jobs, is because of the stability and all of that. So I'm then wondering, okay, the people that then go into it and they're not on the streets, how do they figure it out?
Yeah, I mean, I used to be street too. Like that was how I started from. People see me now, and I used to rough it. I'm a street boy, and I think at the end of the day, the way to get out of the streets, the way to get out of the pressure, to manage that thing is you have to really be strategic about your resources, being your time and your energy, and then the things you work on. Like, you need to be sure that you're spending your time very well, like track your time. Because how I got out of a lot of shit, like I still occasionally still have periods of drought, but the reason how I've been able to manage it is that I live below my means. Like I've been driving the same car for how many years now, you get? So that's still one of it, And even before I got the car self, I used to always try to manage things with friends, like stay with friends that I know that we are aligned. So that's another thing. Because if you're an artist, if you're in your 20s, you're looking to build something, and you don't really spend time with people that are in alignment with you, you're shooting yourself in the leg. Because all you guys would talk about, you can have like 10,000 naira now, and if you're with someone, you guys can just jokingly talk about how you want to spend that 10,000 naira. And if you're with another person, they would also suggest how you can spend that. So it's important you pick the right person, because that money now you can decide, okay, let me buy some materials and save and do something, and then another person will say, that 10,000, we'll try use and we'll just do all right now. Maybe just another one will come. Of course, another one will come.
Just go back.
So those little things count. Like, you have to be very intentional with how you are spending your money.
Yeah.
Because it's not really about how much is coming. It can come big, it can come small, but if you are allocating it the right way, eventually you. And I don't believe. Another thing I see people do is people sell things. Like, you buy iPad and then later you're selling. I'm like, so does that mean when you bought the iPad you didn't know? You didn't think, if I buy anything now,
is that you need it.
I know that this thing in 10 years, I'm still going to be using this thing.
Yeah.
So I'm only buying it because I'm going to use it, and it will help me get to where I'm going. So the period where things are really hard, I don't have anything. I can come back to that thing, and I will use that thing, and that thing can be the reason why I make another money. Why? Because I already bought it knowing the use case.
Yeah.
But people don't have that financial discipline. You know, they just buy things when money comes. You know, and another thing that would make you also make money is you need to know how to treat people well. Because a lot of people don't have parents. They don't like the way hustle for ourselves. You know, parents, you build things yourself, literally everything. Sometimes you even send money back home. You know, so you need to offer like quality service. Like if you're an artist, you're a writer, you make people feel really, really good.
Yeah.
If you make people feel really good, it will reflect in your finances, because then they wouldn't mind paying you what you demand. Instead of going to another people, this guy is a cool guy. Okay, let me just pay the extra money. But a lot of people don't know how to communicate. Their delivery time, they fail. You know, they don't talk to people well. You know, you have people buy works from you before, and then you don't even build relationship with them. So those little things actually count. You know, those are things that would help you. It's a gradual, steady habit that builds up. That's how you manage times of crisis. Live below your means, spend your money strategically, and then, you know, build relationships with the right people. You know, eventually to reflect. Money is without money you can't bring ideas to life. You know, you always need money, but you don't need money to start. Eventually you need the money, but to start you just need to be all the three things that I've just said.
Okay, so thank you very much. So that
you're welcome.
So we can just I think we can wrap this up.
It's been
a minute. It's been a minute. Thank you very much for honoring this invitation.
The pleasure is mine.
How was the conversation?
I had a good time. It was, in fact, I was worried at first, like, because we had the conversation before now. So I was like, is it going to match that? You know?
Yeah.
But I think it went just as well.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I was actually also worried as well. I did not want to ask you stuff that you've already given me an answer to, so you then repeat the answer, because I'm like, no, that kind of thing. But I really enjoy talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's inspiring.
It's
actually inspiring.
Thank you for. I recently just found out you talk about books and a lot of things. I think Big Sam sent me your IG or something. So I was like, oh wow, that's nice. You really love reading books.
I actually do. In fact, if I do not create content as much as I should be creating content about books, it takes time. But if I were to sit down with it, I think I'll be making more content about books if I had time. Well, yeah.
So you spend more time reading the books than creating the content?
Not particularly. It's tricky, right? If I'm going to create content, I need to be in a certain state of mind, especially with the books. I also talk about movies, but I do that majorly on TikTok, and it's very straightforward for me to talk about movies, right? But with books, I'm very careful about what I'm saying, what I'm not saying, and things like that. So it takes a level of intentionality that sometimes you have to say, it's actually inspiring to see that you sit down for, at least as you told me, sit down for like 8 hours straight. Just
we
painting.
Didn't even talk about that.
Don't worry. Well, at least just learning about your dedication to your craft is just something I find inspiring, and it's really interesting. So
thank you. I don't let it on as much, but trust me, I push myself.
I can actually see that there are parts of what you do that we did not even get to touch. So I'm like, you know what? It's all right. It's all right. There's a lot to talk about. Let's just do this once. Let's not be greedy. So it's all good. So again, thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Let me do like a sign out. So, so this episode is going to be on Spotify. The video is going to be on YouTube. There will be clips of it on TikTok and Instagram. Do engage with the content, like, share, reshare, repost, comment. What's the other thing? Subscribe as well, and yeah, and also try to follow me on my pages. And hopefully by next week or the next episode, we'll also have another interesting person that we're having an interesting conversation about. So yeah. And behind the mic, we have Savior that monitored a good amount of what we are doing here. And Born to Win. I know what to say.
That's his name.
Born to Win.
Nice.
So yeah, but he said he gave himself the name, which is interesting. And that's why I prefer calling it Born to Win than Nifemi. I don't. Well, Born to Win too was also there. He also helped set up this whole thing. And then Big Sam, of course, creative director. That's what's the word? It guided everything that we're doing here. So thank you all very much for helping us put this together. Till our next episode. Bye.